turn it on.
This is the suction side for the pool. Okay, so this is your skimmer, which skims the top of the pool. This is the circular drain at the bottom of the pool. If we notice, we have more suction pulling to the bottom of the pool because it's usually 80-20. If you're ever brushing after a dust storm and you want all the suction in the bottom of the pool, you just turn the skimmer off. I leave the gray tab there, so if you turn this and like how the hell is that supposed to go, it kind of lets you know you just line up the arrows.
That's the 80-20 area.
Yep. This would be
ratio.
50-50.
Okay.
In case you got a bunch of trees dropping stuff, but it looks like there's not a whole lot of trees around. But that's where you want to keep it most of the time.
Okay.
And this is spot suction. This will only open up when you turn spot mode on your phone. Automated valve, just like those. This is the one where I found it broken. Remember?
Spa suction. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So basically, that's just spot suction, and this one is spot return. That's why I put spot return. So that's why the only
Which
time
one?
this will open is when
Spot
it's spa
return.
mode or spillway.
Okay.
Now, you want to empty this basket once a week, this basket once a week. This is called a leaf catcher. This is going to catch a majority of the bulky stuff before it gets into your pump basket and before it goes to your filter. I recommend, before you take the lids off, opening up the air relief valve.
Can you do that again? Okay.
Opening up the air relief valve.
Counterclockwise.
Yep. You can tell with the air pushing out. What you're doing is you're depressurizing the system. You're taking any kind of pressure that's built up underneath the lids. So this way, when you take the lids off, they don't potentially fly up and hit you in the face.
Okay.
Never really had that happen before. However, I always take precautionary measures. Now, 10 and 15 seconds should be more than enough. When you're cleaning the filter, wait for that to stop. Just because the filter is a little bit different of a beast than these lids.
You want all the pressure out.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I close it because if you don't close this before you open the lids, all the water is going to go from here, backtrack, and flood these compartments when you're trying to clean them out.
Okay.
Then, counterclockwise whack. If you have a hard time getting that open, you can use a rubber mallet. It gives you a tactical advantage so you don't bang up your hands.
Okay.
You have an O-ring underneath the lid. That's what the little thing of lubrication in your net we left you for. Lube tube.
Got it.
Lubricate that every 3 months. That's why it says lubricate 4 times each year.
Well, dump
That's the
this-
basket you've been collecting so
dump
far.
this shit. Hold on, I'm gonna dump it.
Dump
I
it.
want to see what it's in there.
Pebble.
Just a bunch of shit.
Pebble, rocks, anything the main drain
Yeah.
sucked
And
in.
I'll
Okay.
probably, typically I'm gonna take a, in fact, I'm gonna do it right. Fuck it, it's gonna take me 2 seconds. Let me just blast this with the,
You got it. I always teach customers to get like a little waste basket or like a garbage can from like dollar store. Keep it by the equipment. This way you can just bang it out when you need to.
Okay.
I wanna just get all this shit out of here.
No worries. I had a guy that let 3 dogs swim when I went to the orientation. He had 80 pounds of dog hair in that basket.
Oh my gosh.
It was disgusting.
Ugh.
I'm like, you got dogs that swim? And he goes, yeah, how could you tell? I'm like, oh no, I'm pulling out hair.
Oh my goodness.
And that's why I recommend skimmer socks. It's like a nylon sock that wraps around the skimmer basket so it protects all the dog hair. You know, that's a great
That's a good
idea. I'm
idea.
like,
Yeah.
I know. It's like I know what I'm
I
doing.
always wondered about that. If I got a dog,
It's fine.
probably be a shedless dog. We'll see.
Actually, the coolest dog I ever saw that was shedless was a husky doodle.
Oh.
Half husky,
Ooh.
half doodle.
Oh.
It was awesome because it doesn't shed. Hole always goes towards the front. Good news for you is it only drops down one way just like that.
Got it.
Then take the lid, put the lid back on, lock it back into place.
Okay.
Same thing with this one. As you can see, that's a little bit harder to get open. Another small little basket to empty out.
Shit in there, not much.
Yep, not
A
much.
little bit.
Like I said, there shouldn't be a whole lot of stuff in that one
Okay.
because the leaf catcher catches the majority of the bulky stuff before it gets to this one. Then you have another O-ring you want to lubricate every 3 months underneath the lid.
With what, that lube tube stuff?
Yep. I don't like to glob it on. I just like to make it nice and shiny.
Right, yeah, I hear you. That's where I am.
I see customers glob it on there and they wonder why they get air leaks down the road. Acts like a freaking coagulant. Can't even make this stuff up.
Okay. Have you ever watched that program, Stranger Things?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Fantastic. Except for I didn't see the new season.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
behind.
okay, because I just started watching it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were talking about horror.
Yeah, no,
movies
that's
before.
Stranger Things is phenomenal. Yep. See, basically, hole goes towards the front, just like the last one. The only difference between this lid and this lid, that notch has to line up with that notch. So what I do is I start the notch to the left because you have to go clockwise to tighten it. And basically, what I do is I start the notch over here. Well, when the O-ring doesn't fight you, sometimes it fights you a little bit. So basically, I start the notch to here, right, and then crank it on home just like that.
Okay.
I always also like to keep it, 9 and 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that too. I like that positioning.
Yep.
It's easier.
Because if you don't tighten that all the way, you're gonna get air in the system. Then I come over here, hit features, hit high speed, because this is called repriming the system. What I'm doing now is you notice how all the water dropped to the bottom?
Yeah.
So now you want to reprime it by using cool water. Now, also, if you don't mind stepping over there, I just want to get you soaked. What I'm gonna do right now, this is gonna be a bad scenario for me. All right, I got it. Wait till water flies out. See how it's building up pressure?
This is
doing
doing
is-
prime it.
Yep, and you're purging the system of the majority of the air we just created. That's why I asked you to go that way. I don't want to get you doused. I'll be kind of quick with this because
So high speed.
like that.
All right, got it.
As you see, it's already repriming itself. These pumps are really good at repriming themselves.
Good.
If it didn't do this, grab your hose or a bucket of water, fill this one up, close the lids, repeat.
So empty these.
Once
Make
a
sure
week.
the O-rings are good and solid. And then every how many weeks do we? Or
Once a week for the baskets,
No,
every 3 months.
when do we
Every 3
move
months.
it? 3 months.
4 times a year.
Okay. And then when we then turn on high speed, counterclockwise, put your hand over there until water squirts out.
But, or if you're just standing there, you can let the water fly, but that's why I blocked it.
No, I
because
like
didn't
the way
want
you did it.
Get it all over here.
Okay.
Now you might get air coming out of the inflow cleaners for the next 10 minutes. Perfectly normal.
That's okay.
You can only purge so much air out of the system to do
Got
that.
it. But it'll all work its way out.
Yep, it will. The longer it runs. Now, this is a garden hose bib. This is in case you ever have a heavy rainfall, like a monsoon, and you're like, damn, the water's overflowing out of our pool. You can attach a garden hose to this. Turn the pump on. Open up the spigot and drain the water a couple inches if you had to. I wouldn't drain your whole pool and spa with this. You might be here for a couple months. No pun intended.
Okay.
That's your temp sensor. This is how you know what the temperature of the pool water is.
Okay.
If you open up your app in the middle of the summer, it could tell you your pool's 120 degrees. This doesn't know that the water's not flowing through it. It's just calculating the hot water inside the pipe.
So you get your best reading when water's flowing.
That's
through.
right. So that's why I said if you open up your app in the middle of July, it could tell you your pool's 118 degrees. It doesn't know any better. As soon as you turn on the pool or spa, it'll recalibrate itself and actually give you the accurate temperature. This is your filter. Manufacturer says you only have to clean this twice a year in the state of Arizona. Me personally, I say it's not a bad idea to do every 3 months.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. If some customers do it once a month just to
I'm
keep
gonna
up.
do it sooner rather than later because this has got a lot of shit from the initial thing.
The good news is you have a start arrow where the pressure starts. Like right now, it's at the start arrow.
And then what should this be? So when you read this, should you be reading it under high pressure or low pressure?
I would do high pressure.
So that's when you get your accurate
Yep.
reading.
And the difference is it will fluctuate from zone to zone when the head pop up. So right now it's at 18 psi. One of the smaller zones on the Baja shelf might bring it up to 20, 21 psi because they fluctuate. If it stays pinned at the 30 during the entire cleaning cycle, dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. I always say after a dust storm, not a bad idea to break it down. As you can see, all the water's back in. There's just a little bit of air left over, but not enough to really make a big stink about it. Turn the pump back off, everything stayed. Good to go. Now, when you clean the filter, relieve the pressure, like I told you before. While you're doing that, there's a drain plug at the very bottom of this. At the bottom of that drain plug is a 7/8 socket bit. I just use a ratchet wrench that has a socketing end, put it on the bottom, turn it once to break the seal, and then unthread it by hand. You should be able to unthread it by hand. Just remember, it's upside down, so it's not going to be your normal lefty-loosey, righty-tighty.
Okay. But it's threaded normal. It's not reverse threaded.
No, it's not reverse threaded. It's just threaded normal, but it's just
So
upside
it's
down.
7/8. Got it. I'll get a special
Yeah.
wrench for that. I don't have.
I
one.
just have a wrench that I bought at Home Depot.
I'm gonna
claw.
get a ratcheting one that's easy to use.
The locking nut on the side, same exact size, 7/8.
Got it.
I get a deep socket for my
Oh,
impact
good. And
gun.
somebody put a new one on there
Yeah,
too.
you're welcome. I did that,
Excellent.
and I used an impact gun with a
Thank
deep
you.
socket.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I did everything on the list you asked me for. The only thing I couldn't fix was that abomination.
Right.
Anywho, once a drain plug, because what happens is when you purge the system of air, it only drops the water down below the band. So now you have all the gunky water from the band to the bottom. The dirty, gunky water you've been collecting. That's why you pop the drain plug. Drains the rest of it. If you have a shop vac, you can take the filter out from the side of the shop vac, plug your shop vac into your outlet, take the tank apart, put the
Suck
vacuum
it
in,
out.
vacuum it out. Whichever you prefer.
Instead of doing that.
Whatever you prefer.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I'm a man of options. Basically, what a lot of people will tell you just to pop the drain plug. It's just an easier way to get it all out. just depends on how much stuff you want. Oh, how much stuff you want right here. You know what I mean? Because it's going to flood this out. Once you get the locking nut, the washer, the spring of the washer, all come off the threaded rod. When you do that, the band's going to separate. It's all in one piece. It comes apart, put it to the side. Now, when you start to separate those locking nut, the springs are going to slightly open. That's how you know how tight to make it when the springs are touching. I'm also a huge fan of whacking the sides with a rubber mallet as I'm tightening it to get a nice tight squeeze.
Doing what again? Repeat that, please.
Whacking the sides with a rubber mallet as
Sides
you're
of
tightening
what?
it. The clamp.
The clamp.
Because as you're tightening it, you kind of want to whack the sides so it gets compression.
Okay.
Once you're done, pull that all off, take the band off, top of the tank comes off like that. I always grab it from here. I've seen customers take it from that thing and snap it right off,
I won't do that.
especially in the colder months. Once you take the top of the tank off, there's going to be an O-ring sitting on the bottom, which is basically a tank gasket. It's a little bit thicker. Do the same exact thing, clean it off, clean the lip that sits on
Give
off.
it a lube tube on
And
that one.
just a little bit of lubrication, just to make it shiny. Then you're gonna have 4-cylinder looking cartridges. They're gonna look very similar to like a jacuzzi cartridges and or the cartridges that are inside the filter or shop vac. The only difference is these can handle water. On top of the 4 cartridges are gonna be a little plastic manifold that locks them into place. It's a little plastic X that wiggles off the top of these.
That holds them in place.
That's
okay.
right. And then there's another manifold at the bottom that holds them up.
Okay.
That's locked in the bottom of the filter, will not come out.
Okay.
Pull the 4 cartridges out, lean them up against the wall, spray them out with the garden hose. That's all you're doing.
Okay.
How often do we have to replace them?
Every 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
This also depends on how often you take care of
You'll
it.
know. You'll be able to tell when
The
they
rubber will
getting-
start cracking, and the bands that there's bands that wrap around the fabric to keep them tight. They'll start breaking.
Where do we get them?
You can either get them online, or you can literally get them through us. Just depends on what you want to do.
Pentair. They're
Yep.
just standard.
Pentair,
We'll get
okay.
the partner.
Yeah,
number.
literally Pentair 420
Oh.
Clean and Clear right there.
Okay, cool.
It's just a 420 cartridge.
We'll go ahead and get some of those just to have them.
I recommend it just because then you could just pop the new ones in,
Yeah.
Instead of
clean the
hard-
other ones at your leisure.
Got it.
Say if you have a lot of stuff going on.
That's even a better idea.
How much are they?
I like that. Who
Do you know?
cares?
Set of 4 for these is probably between $400 and $500. That's if you buy them through the real thing. But if you get them on aftermarket like Amazon, you can probably get them a lot cheaper.
That's what we'll do. I'm not buying the.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, one side will say bottom, the other side won't. Obviously, not be stupid, but put the bottoms down.
Okay.
Now, the little 4 spots that sit at the bottom, the cartridges will sit in their 4 spots perfectly. The top manifold just locks it all into place. In the middle of those 4 cartridges is going to be a little 3/4 inch PVC with a little metal mesh screen on top of it. Sometimes you just got to pop that thing off, spray it off, put it back on the 3/4 inch pipe because it'll get a bunch of clogged stuff on there.
In the mesh.
Yeah, it's basically an internal bypass sort of a thing. You'll
Okay,
see
so-
it.
yeah, I'll see it. Okay.
Yeah.
And you say pull that off and.
Literally, it's just a little plastic with a little metal screen on top of it.
Okay,
You
what
just
hol-
pop it off the PVC.
What holds that in place?
It's just basically you just push it back down and it just sits.
It's a press
Yeah.
fit sort of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay.
I just either that or I leave it on and I just rinse it off with a hose,
Okay.
whichever you prefer.
All right. Cool.
But I like to
I'll
clean
get
that
it
off.
clean. It's gonna be
Yeah,
clean.
I'm sure.
It's gonna be clean.
I have
It's
no
gonna be a
doubt.
clean.
Is it gonna be
lean-
clean?
Mean machine.
Put it back on, put the band back together, and then you tighten it until you see the springs are touching like they are right now.
Got it.
Comes out of the bottom of the filter. Now, obviously, that would be going to the inlet for your BioShield, but it's closed because of the fact that that's like that. Then it would be coming back from the BioShield. This is your heater bypass. This should stay in this position all the time. This should never move. Because that will allow a certain amount of water through your heater.
Heater bypass.
Yep.
You don't have a little label for that one, do you?
I have even something better. I always take the locking nut off, take the handle off so nobody could ever mess with it, and then put the locking nut back on.
Okay.
This way nobody could ever move it. Trust me, because if you move that, you're going to hear what I can only describe as a boulder clanging around inside. It's called dry fire.
That's the heater bypass.
Yep. Allows a certain amount of water to your heater.
Okay.
Without it, it would not work efficiently. And then I'm going to leave the
I'm
handle.
gonna put a little label on there and says "Do not touch this ever."
They don't have that as far as labels, heater bypass or do not touch, unfortunately. I only have
He's
a
gonna
label
put a
maker.
label.
Oh, never mind then. I remember I used to
Yeah,
have one of them
we're
back in the day. When I was
Yeah,
a
I'm
kid.
still-
I
I'm
bought
old
you the
school.
label.
Well, the
maker.
problem is
I'm
I
still living in the 80s
I
and
burned
90s.
through the whole roll, so my mom's like, "You're done. That stuff's not cheap."
But it's fun labeling.
It
things,
is.
Isn't it?
Come back from the heater. This goes to your spa returns, which is your spa therapies, which is the little jets that push out the air. This goes basically to your aerator. This is something you would open up during the hot summertime months when the pool ran at nighttime schedules. This we've already talked about, opens up your waterfall sides or your feature sides, and this side goes down to your inflow cleaning system. Inside of there is a set of gears and turbine. They're just plastic. The gears sit at the bottom of the half moon, so as it turns, it opens up different sections where the heads pop up. The turbine is basically just what turns it.
And that's what's controlling each zone.
That's right. So when the heads pop up, they push around a pizza slice. Every time they drop down, they come up in a different direction.
Yeah.
If you ever notice.
And if those ever get stuck in the up position, what should I do?
Well, what I did was I found 3 or 4 the other day when I was here. I just pulled them out with my tool and then basically blew out the line. If you don't have a tool,
You don't have them.
when the heads are popping up in their zones, I just take the end of the pole, push it down a couple times under pressure, and it'll break whatever's causing the stick for 99.9% of the time. If not, you call us and we'll come out, lifetime warranty. The in-floor system is lifetime warranty. Gears, turbine, canister, all the
Well,
pop-ups.
actually, I mean, that's a pretty petty thing, but you do that for free.
Yeah. For the first 2 years. We don't charge a service fee for the first 2 years. After the first 2 years, we charge $120 to come out. Gas is expensive now.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even want to know how much money.
I don't have a
put into
personal
that.
vehicle, so I
I
got
just
rid of my
drove that
personal
truck.
vehicle.
That thing didn't even get 10 miles per gallon.
And these are just automated valves, so they'll turn according to whatever you hit on the phone. You don't ever have to mess with those. That's kind of my whole spiel. There's no maintenance to that. They say that you're supposed to take the bulb and sleeve out and clean them. But if you know anything about that bulb, it's like the
Which bulb?
the bulb that's inside of there.
Which one? This one?
No, no, the ones
UV.
inside the
Yeah.
bioshield.
Okay.
I don't recommend it because of the simple fact that it's like the one that you had in your headlights that you're not supposed to touch.
Right.
So when I grab that
oil on
bulb,
there.
I don't touch the bulb. I grab the little plastic thing in the end and then very carefully work the little fitting on
I
top.
won't touch that bulb ever.
Don't mess with it.
Right.
And personally, honest with you, the tube is about this big around. The hell are you gonna clean that with? No clue. Plus, getting that apart, good luck. It's not fun putting that together. This is just to light up the lights that go on the side of your shear. I've already set that. There's nothing you need to do in here. This is just a module that allows you to change the colors when the shear descends. And I had to set it to a specific way because our electricians, whoever installed, don't know how to do it. There's 3 different versions of that. There's Pentair, and then there's 2 other ones I don't know what it means.
Put a label on that too, could you?
That doesn't
Jim?
mean anything. This is just your power centers.
Well,
That's
hold on.
what
What
power
was that again? Repeat that.
The lights.
This is for your shear descent. This is how your shear descent lights can change colors.
That's the lighting module.
Yep.
That's where the light module.
Just for your shear descent. Yep.
Shear descent lighting module.
That's why if you check a color, no, let me say this in English. That's why if you pick a color now, it actually does the color you've chosen because I've set it to a Pentair style. Shouldn't have to mess with anything in there though.
Yeah.
And this is just the ballast for your power center for that. And then this is your panel. We already know how to work all that. If for some reason you turn your pool lights on, or any of your lights and they don't come on, just check your GFCI. They're actually hardwired to the GFCI. You just don't have to reset it. Try and save your service calls from down the road.
I'm gonna put a.
Yeah.
I'm not a big advocate of the Arizona sun. So
Shade?
Yeah, I'm gonna put a cover over this that comes off the wall. I'm gonna
Smart.
lower this. I'll lower this down here just so.
Yep.
I want to keep that off, and then I'm gonna put like a sunshade over this stuff, just because I
Yeah.
don't want that shit baking in the sun.
No,
The
just
sun
just
does-
don't put it over top of the heater.
Right.
Obviously, if the exhaust will burn it to smithereens. And try not to lower that too much, just because the simple fact the closer it is to the panel, the more interference you might actually encounter.
Okay, in that case I won't. I'll just put the cover right
Even
above.
better. That's why we try to keep it as far away as we can.
Okay. I
normally
did not
go-
know that.
Normally with these antennas, I'll be up here with them.
Okay.
That's I've heard from Pentair that they do cause issues if they're too close to the panel.
Okay.
That's all. Any questions on the equipment?
No.
I wish I could have done this
Yes.
last time, but there was just so much going on, I just didn't feel right. That's why I wanted to give you a more thorough orientation.
Thank you.
And this is a check valve. This is in case,
Where?
so when your in-floor system shuts off from your spa isn't drained to your pool.
Okay.
So if you ever notice, you come out, spa's empty, pool's overflowing, I already know what the problem is. A little flapper door inside of there's broken. Those are like an $80 part. However, 3-year warranty, so you don't have to worry about it. Everything you have is a 3-year except for your in-floor system, which is lifetime. And this canister, the lid, lifetime. Basket, O-ring, 3-year maintenance item.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna keep the sun off this equipment because
Yeah.
that extends
Oh,
the life.
I've seen hairline cracks in these from just the sun beating the crap out over years.
Shit out.
Yeah,
Right. I mean,
think how I feel
right.
all day long.
All of us. We love it. And
People are like, here's some water. I'm like, yeah, I'm like let's pour it on my head. They're like, you're supposed to drink that. I'm like, this feels so much better. I'm like, you give me the water, just let me do what I want with it. I have a 2-gallon jug in my van, man. Remember there was one day around 12:30 in the afternoon, and I finished my 2-gallon jug, and I go, oh, this is gonna be a bad day. I'm gonna have some cramps later. So, funny story, not so funny. got home from work on Friday after I was here, dealing with this for 3 hours and just a nightmare. I found a whole bunch of extra stuff I had to fix, yada, yada, yada. Get home. I'm like, you know what? I haven't opened my blinds for my back patio for like a week just because it's so hot. I just don't want the sun coming in. Open it up, and I have photographic memory. And I'm just like, somebody climbed 2 stories to my back patio and lifted my bike off of it. And
What?
2 stories. And
Oh
the best
my
part is,
God.
I'm talking to the cops all day Saturday morning.